This is New Hampshire Cross Country, powered by Runners Alley. We're at the Division I JV State Championships in Alvern, New Hampshire. This meet is brought to you by Breeze Tees Screen Printing, located in Keene, New Hampshire. So for this race, the favorites on the girls' side is most likely going to be Pinkerton. They've been pretty strong all year, as well as the last couple years at this meet. We just saw a few minutes ago the Pinkerton boys score what I believe to be under 20. They had, I think, 5 runners in the top 7 or 8, so a very low score for them. So let's see if the girls can repeat that result. And this race, it's a really big race just because the whole team for each school, minus the varsity 7, are running in this race, whereas at the varsity state meets, there's only 7 per team. So there are a lot of girls in this race, so it's going to be important for the top teams to get out pretty hard over this field and get in position before it kind of bottlenecks, just because there's so many bodies in this race that getting stuck behind a big pack could be an issue. But in terms of weather, it's looking really, really good. It's about mid-50s right now, slight breeze, nice and sunny, which isn't necessarily a good thing for these runners, but the majority of this course is on trails in the woods, so that'll be nice and shady for them. Should be really, really good weather for racing. We saw the boys all had really good races. The winners were close to 17 flat, which is an impressive time on this course. So the girls should have an equally good time running in this course. Alright, we should be ready to go at this point. All the girls are on the line. The starter is getting ready to raise the flag. We'll see if this race is as dominated by one team as the boys race was, or if it's more like the Division II and III state meets that we saw yesterday, where the Oyster River boys squeezed out a 2-point win over rival Co-Brown, and then the Oyster River girls won by a little bit more, but still not a ton. I think they won by about 20 points. So definitely a lot closer than what we saw in this Division I boys race. So we'll see if the girls are going to be as dominant, or if it'll be a little closer between a few of these teams. There's the whistle, flag is up, and we are off at the 2018 Division I JV State Championships. Looks like Pinkerton girls got out very well, as well as Londonderry and Salem. So those teams are going to be leading the pack into this first field loop before they go into the woods in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
We are a few hundred meters into this race, the girls Division I JV State Championship, and this race is being led by 2 Bedford and 2 Memorial running together, and quite a few more Bedford, as well as a big Pinkerton pack. So at this point in the race, Bedford looks to be in the lead, a pretty strong front pack, although we still have about 2.5 miles to go at this point. So as we saw in the boys race, it's not necessarily a super strong indicator, the first half mile or so, because it was some pretty tight competition in the boys race at that point. And by the end, Pinkerton had really surged to the front and taken a lot of those places away. and finished with under 20 points. So we'll see how this shakes out, if any one team tries to take over from Bedford or if they hold it through the next couple miles. But we'll see them as they come out of the woods loop in a few minutes at about 1.5 miles. We are now a little over 1 mile into this race, and we see Memorial and Central up front, and then a nice 1-2 of Bedford and the second Memorial. So still Bedford and Memorial leading this race in terms of team score. And then we see, let's see, another Bedford. That's Bedford's 3. First South, First Pinkerton, Bedford's 4, and Bedford's 5. So, barring any major moves over the next mile or so, most likely by Pinkerton, Bedford should have this team title sewn up. They even just got their 6 in right there. That is going to displace a few more of the Pinkerton runners, seeing as Pinkerton looks to be the main challenger at this point for Bedford. So here's another huge Bedford pack, although past number 7 runner, it no longer displaces in terms of score. Only the top 7 can impact the score in this race, but still to see such a huge Bedford pack up towards the front definitely gives them a big boost and could help them push past a few more Pinkerton runners and lower their score even more. So we'll see. The individual race looks to be pretty interesting, as there's still probably 6-ish girls up towards the front that could still make a move for the win. We saw those 2 Memorial girls, Central, and then Bedford's 1 and 2. So that will be interesting to see how that turns out. They go out around the field for a few hundred meters before heading back into the woods. So we'll catch up with them at the finish line and see who comes out on top. But most likely Bedford is in the position to hold on to this win for the championship. Bedford. We are now at the finish line. We have the first runner coming in. It's Memorial for the individual win. And then right behind her is Bedford's first. So they were stride for stride early on in this race, as well as Central. So Memorial put on a good move over the last mile to spread that gap out and get the win. But at this point we've had 3 different teams go through. So nobody in the lead so far in terms of team score. This is Bedford's number 2 coming in, and 3.
Keep going, guys. Keep going. Stay in order, guys.
And then Memorial's second, Pinkerton's first, Bedford's 4th.
Keep going, guys.
So Bedford with a strong 4, in the top 7 or 8.
Stay in order, guys. Good job.
Here's another Pinkerton coming through.
Nice job. Nice job. Stay in order, guys.
That's it, keep moving.
And then it looks like, yes, the last Bedford of the top 5, as well as Bedford 6. So she'll display some people and lower the,
Nice job, Bedford. Stay in
or not
order,
lower the
guys.
score, but make the score difference even larger between them and the next school, which most likely will be Pinkerton.
Nice job. Stay in order, ladies.
So Bedford coming out with the win over Pinkerton, which over the past couple years has been a favorite. Pinkerton's always done very well at this meet over the last couple years, so big win for Bedford. And then looks like most likely Pinkerton coming in as the runner-up. But a strong performance from all these girls. Pretty good times for them, as we saw in the boys race. As we're coming towards the end of the year in terms of training, you're peaking right about this time, as well as the weather finally starts to cool off, which is good for racing. So around this time is when we see some really great performances from all these runners, and we definitely have today.
Somebody step in place. Come on, let's go, Joe. Keep going, guys. Gotta keep going. Gotta keep moving. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes, Megan.
So this has been the 2018 Division I JV State Championships here at Alvirne High School. And so overall, individually, Memorial gets the win, and then in terms of team scores, Bedford takes the win over number 2 Pinkerton in this race.